Assalamualaikum and welcome to my slideshow on India. These are some pictures I took earlier this year when I visited. You'll notice that there's quite a difference between the people that live in India, between themselves, and also Indians and the rest of the world. So I titled my slideshow "A Study in Contrasts," and you'll see in the beginning of the slideshow there are mostly pictures of the city, and then you'll see village life, which is where I spent most of my time in India. And hopefully I'll also be able to read some excerpts from my journal that I wrote while I was there. So thanks for watching. Assalamualaikum. Journal. At the airport, we get off the plane and walk to the terminal. Since it's winter in India, the weather is around 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Everyone is wearing sweaters and saying how cold it is. We exit the airport and are met by various uncles, aunts, and cousins. We all pile into a Maruti, which is like a jeep van kind of vehicle. Everyone in our luggage piles in, and we are off. Basically, in India, you just get on a vehicle and hold on. It's best not to look in front. There are people everywhere, stores on both sides, men carrying boxes and bags, rickshaws, auto rickshaws, and scooters weave in and out of traffic. There is dust everywhere, and the pollution is heavy. We walk down the alleyways from the house in a residential area and go to a main street. There my uncle yells, "Hey, rickshaw," until one pulls over and we all hop on. A rickshaw ride is like a roller coaster ride of India. From here you can see everything, the teeming traffic, cars, people. It's exciting. The poor skinny man in front of us pulls us along. At first I feel guilty, but I know that this is the livelihood of millions of the poorest of the poor in India. They work the day to eat, then sleep on the street with their bike. We get off by the beggars and walk through the narrow streets. India's domestic airport. Stepping into this airport is like stepping back in time 50 years. Everything looks old. The long Coke bottles, overhead fans, laconic guards, and groups of people everywhere. Outside, 1950s-style taxis are everywhere. It reminds me of scenes from A Passage to India or The English Patient. Journal. We piled into the jeep and navigated our way through the narrow streets, beeping all the way so the people with bikes and men with carts moved to the sides. We passed the Bird Market Street and narrowly missed hitting a little girl. It's a wonder more people don't have accidents here every day. As we pass towns, we see stores, men building roads, makeshift car-fixing places, bicycle stores, every kind of craftsman, people walking, women carrying loads of hay on their heads, trucks carrying rice, wood, even a shepherd moving his goats along. We go from the city through some towns to the more rural areas. Here is the other half of India, where people grow rice and work in the fields and return home to their villages in the evenings. Finally, we turn into the road for our village. According to my father, our family has lived here for generations. The village is made up of brick alleyways that lead to houses made of brick and clay. Most houses are all clay. You enter, and there are usually cots with some bedspreads, some pots in the corner next to a gas burner, and a courtyard with a water pump in the corner with a metal pot next to it for wudu. Families have lived here for generations. Nowadays, many of the men go overseas to make money for their families. It was a cold night, kind of like a cold November morning. There were about 14 of us in a small room. My grandmother, me, my aunt, some kids, some cousins, my other aunt, some more kids, and so on. It's very cold, but I love it. Every time we've come before, it's been so hot. I'm on the roof with the children. The sun is setting in the distance. Women were on the rooftops preparing various things for the evening, bringing the animals down, finishing the wash, cooking dinner. The sky is filled with pink and haze. It is almost Maghrib time. Journal. The adhans start. There are 3 mosques in this village. One adhan starts after the other. In the summer when I was here, at Maghrib time, everyone was on the roof, and you would see women on every roof praying Maghrib. In the distance are the fields of rice and sugarcane. We are sitting on the roof. The sun hasn't set yet. A light wind is moving. Life in the village is slow. We wake up in the morning at first light and make wudu with cold water from the Nal. Then we pray on the straw mat in the guest room. Preparations begin for breakfast, starting with the requisite chai. We are invited to our uncles for breakfast today. Tonight we are making biryani on the roof. My cousin sings ghazals while she chuns the rice. I hear the trills of bicycles in the lanes below, and people talking, laughing, preparing in their houses. In India, there are many standards of living. As we drive through the towns and villages and cities, the most basic type of house is a straw roof with 4 bamboo sticks holding it up. Sometimes saris are draped on the sides to give a person privacy. Then there are huts made of mud and straw, usually 1 room. I forgot to mention the poorest of the poor in India. They work by day as auto rickshaw drivers or peddlers of wares and sleep wherever night finds them. After the town, we traveled to the village where my mother grew up as a girl. I remember staying there when I was little, and it was made all out of clay. It even had niches made out of clay where they put lanterns at night. I look out the window of our jeep, and this area is more rural, with women carrying straw or sticks on their head, walking down the fields. Girls dressed in their red uniforms with hair and braids and ribbons. We pass a school where all the children are outside, lined up, sitting on the ground in groups. They have tablets in their hands, and the schoolmaster walks up and down the rows. We are traveling to my other uncle's house. He too lives abroad in Dubai. I have never met him either. My aunt is a very funny, boisterous woman. She and her daughter insist on our staying. Their house is very big, with marble floors, and has 2 levels. The daughter-in-law brings us upstairs. There are many rooms, and each person has their own room. This, I guess, are the wealthier class in India. They have computers and TVs and scooters. They go to exclusive schools and travel abroad. They speak English fluently, if with an accent. They go to all the nice boutiques and wear the latest fashions. On our way back to the village, I watch all the people on the streets. I cannot understand India. It just doesn't make sense to me. There seems to be no reason here, no philosophy. What place is this where parents have to send their little daughters away to other towns to work for wealthier families? There is a little girl here. She must be 8 or 10 years old. They call her Chutki, little one. She has a big scar on her cheek. I thought at first it was a burn scar, but then when I asked, I was told she came from a low's house like that. I watch her sweeping the floor, and I feel sad, but then I know that the money she brings into her family helps them eat.